Hey everybody, I'm Ramit Sethi from I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And about 10 years ago, sitting in my dorm room as a cocky college kid, I said to myself, I have something the world needs to hear. And I sat down and I created this blog. And guess what? Not a single person read it. And I did that for a month and 2 months and even 6 months. And finally people started to read, and I got a few different comments here and there. I started learning about how to take my ideas and package them up into something that the world wanted to pay attention to. And I made every mistake in the book. I sold a $4.95 ebook, and people said, Ramit, what a sellout. Ugh. I didn't understand distribution. I didn't understand marketing. I didn't want to be one of those salesy guys. But over time, what I came to understand was that there was something inside of me that I wanted to share with the world. For me, it was my definition of a rich life. And I think it's different for all of us. So if you fast forward until now, I Will Teach You to Be Rich has generated millions of dollars. And more importantly, we've helped millions of people lead rich lives, whether it's through optimizing their personal finances, mastering their psychology, or more recently, starting their own online businesses. Now, to me, this is really exciting, because an online business is like nothing else. When it works, when it's profitable, you can take a trip and it generates revenue for you while you're sleeping. You can take an idea and instead of just sharing it with 1 or 2 people, you can share it with thousands or even millions. I know because I've done it. See, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, in addition to helping millions of other people, has helped me to live a rich life. Now, what does that mean? For me, a rich life means that I can employ a personal trainer, a nutritionist, a chef. That means I can stay healthy and have these things done for me so I can focus on the things that I want to do. It also means that if I get a text message in the middle of a workday, I can put things on pause and go have a leisurely 3-hour lunch with my family. Or it means that I can take a vacation, maybe going to Utah for a weekend ski trip, or taking a last-minute trip to Asia. And while I'm there, my business continues to generate income, even while I'm not paying attention to email. So I tell you these things, not to brag, but to challenge you on what does a rich life mean to you. See, for some, it could be generating X dollars of income, and that's fine. There's no shame in that. For others, it could mean paying off your debt faster, or writing a check for your parents' mortgage, or donating to charity. Whatever your definition of a rich life is, I can help you get there, guilt-free. Now this week, I'm gonna show you how to create your own profitable online business. Notice I said profitable. We're not talking about creating a labor of love. We're not talking about setting up some scammy website and praying that somehow we make money. We're talking about adding real value to people. And when we add value, we expect to be compensated as well. It doesn't matter if you don't have an idea yet. I can show you how to get that. It doesn't matter if you don't know the nuts and bolts of online marketing or monetization or conversion. We've done all that stuff at I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I can show you that, including the playbook that we use to generate successful products. For right now, I want you to think about what a rich life means to you and what it would mean to have an online business that runs even while you sleep. If there's one thing people love to feel when it comes to starting an online business, it's overwhelmed. Oh my God, I'm so frazzled. I don't know what to do. There's so many choices. Well, I don't believe in being frazzled. I believe in being calm, deliberate, and methodical. So think about the advice you get from other people telling you all the things you need to do for a successful online business. I call this marketing tactical hell. Because they'll tell you things like, you need a Facebook page, you need Twitter, you need Pinterest, you need social media, webinars, SEO, SEM, PPC. How are you even supposed to know which of those make sense? Do you do them all at once? Do you just spend 10 minutes a week on each of those things? Ignore this advice. We want to stay out of marketing tactical hell, and we want to be calm, deliberate, and methodical. Now, I find this freeing. I find it calming to know I don't need to worry about all that stuff. I can just focus on the one or two things right now. Let me give you an example. If you were 30 pounds overweight, do you need to worry about the different protein content in your protein shake and what time should you eat carbs at night? No, you don't need to worry about that level of detail right now. You need to probably go to the gym 3 times a week and maybe change your diet a little bit. That's it. Now today we're going to focus on finding an idea, because I know that one of the biggest challenges to starting an online business is, what do I even talk about? What's my idea? Now I want you to notice that we do things a little differently. First of all, I'm not going to give you a list of 100 business ideas, because that's pointless. You could do it yourself. Just go Google business ideas. You'll find an encyclopedia list of all these different things you could do. It's pointless. It's worthless. We don't need a list of ideas. We need the right idea for us. We're not going to stop there. The way that I approach business is quite different than others. Instead of just dumping an encyclopedia of ideas on you, I'm going to help you refine it, and then we're going to test it for profitability. What does that mean? It means that before we ever create a new product or business, we want to virtually guarantee that it's profitable before we ever spend time or money on it. Now, notice the difference. Instead of setting up a website and jumping into Twitter and all that stuff, we put that aside until later. We just focus on finding an idea and making sure it's profitable. And once we know that, we're off to the races. Let's get into it together. All right, you heard me make fun of people who just dump an encyclopedia of business ideas on you. It doesn't make any sense. Like, what am I going to do with these 50 ideas? All right, I'm going to throw them straight in the trash. Today, we're going to give you a little framework for how to generate ideas. Now, there's 3 pieces of this framework. It's very simple. But before we get into it, a little word of caution. Have you ever been in a meeting where somebody said, let's brainstorm, let's come up with some ideas, and then the room went like this? Silence. We're not allowing silence today. There are no stupid ideas. There are no bad ideas. In fact, the more ideas, the better. Typically at this stage of the process, when I'm working on creating a new product, I'm generating 10, 20 ideas in 2 or 3 minutes, okay? No idea is bad. So I want to encourage you to let the juices flow, be creative, and don't restrict yourself. Don't say, Ramit, that's a stupid idea. That will never work. None of that negative talk is allowed right now. So the framework for generating ideas goes like this. It's a 3-part framework. First of all, what are your skills? What skills do you have that other people might find useful? Now, some of it might be very obvious. You might be a great cook. Maybe you're really good at texting on Tinder. Who knows what it is? Whatever that may be, just write it down. Great. If you're not sure what skills you have, quick little tip, ask your friends. You can just call them, text them, email them, and say, hey, if you had to name 3 skills I have, what would they be? Some people will tell you stuff that will be very surprising. You're great at relationship advice. You're amazing at knowing how to decorate your apartment. You can just see where everything fits. You know how to put an outfit together. You're amazing at time management. Those are great skills. So come up with them on your own. Feel free to brag a little bit. That's fine. And if you're not sure, turn to a friend. Now, the next part of this framework is knowledge. What is your special knowledge that you have that other people might find useful? For example, there's a great business, which is an ebook for parents who are taking their children to Disneyland. Now, put yourself in the mind of that parent. You're going to Disneyland, you're like, oh, I'm spending so much money. Am I going to have a good time? Or my kid's going to get tired? Boom. You can get this ebook, which shows you the ins and outs of Disneyland, the special places other people don't know about inside the park, and the little tricks and detours you can take so your children have an amazing time. Now, that's based on knowledge. Clearly, the creators went to Disneyland, got pretty good at it, and they decided to take their knowledge and turn it around and package it up into a business. What special knowledge do you have? For example, one of our Zero to Launch students happens to know a lot about ethnic food as well as health. That's pretty interesting knowledge. She knows how to cook really spicy, delicious food that's also healthy. That's a business. So write these ideas down. Don't worry if they seem crazy right now. We'll get to that later. Number 3, the third part of this framework is what special experience or challenges have you been through? For example, a classic one is if you lost a lot of weight, you obviously learned not only the tactics to eat right and maybe work out more, but the mental mindset. What does it take to get past those late night cravings? Guess what? That's a business. That's an amazing idea. And it doesn't matter that there's 10,000 other people doing it. Guys, there's 10,000 other people writing about personal finance and business. And yet here you are watching this video because we have a different approach than everyone else. What's another example of a special experience or challenge? What if you used to be in a ton of credit card debt and you learned how to pay that off and really live a rich life and you're never going back there again? Guess what? I guarantee you there are 20 people who live within a mile of you or who work at your office who would want to know how you did it. Write it down. So what you can see with this 3-part framework of skills, knowledge, and experience is that you can generate a bunch of ideas. We're not looking for an encyclopedia, we're looking for the right ideas for us. Now I want to give you a final little action item right now. We call it the 5-minute straitjacket technique. And it works like this. We call it this because we effectively put a straitjacket around us like this. We turn off our phones, we close our laptop, we have a piece of paper and a pen in front of us, and we say, what ideas do we have that could fit into this 3-part framework? So I'm going to challenge you to do that right now. Push pause, close the laptop, turn off your phone, and just for 5 minutes, just 5, come up with at least 10 ideas. I'm going to show you what to do with those ideas in just a second, but I want you to take the time right now, shut off all distractions, and believe in yourself to come up with at least 10 ideas. I'll see you back here in just a few. You know, a lot of people who say they want to help you create an online business have actually only created 1 or 2 products themselves. So what do? They're like, here's a bunch of business ideas. See you later, you're on your own. That's not how it works with I Will Teach You to Be Rich. We're always going to go the extra step. So now that you've got this list of potential ideas based on your skills, based on your experience, based on your knowledge, we want to dive in and slice and dice it and find that profitable one. So how do we do this? I want to give you another framework. This is the very same framework we use when we are creating our products. Now remember, we've created over 15 successful products, generating millions and millions of dollars. So I want to take you behind the scenes and show you how we think about our product creation. We use something called the demand matrix. And I'm going to put it up here on the screen. It's very simple. It shows you a mental model of how much demand there is for your idea. Now take a look. On this matrix, you can see that there's more customers, fewer customers, low price, high price. Now, obviously the dream is to get something where it's high price and many customers. That's the dream. Well, I want to help you break this down because you can take each of your ideas and put it into this demand matrix. Now, let's just go through a couple examples so you see what I mean. Now, let's first start from the top left and work our way clockwise. High end means high price and few customers. What kind of companies can you think of that are high end and have a relatively small number of customers? Let's think about Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Prada. These are amazing companies, super high end, and the vast majority of people will never buy their products. Great, that's a high-end company, a high-end product. Now let's move to the next one. We call this golden goose because the price is still relatively high, but the number of customers is massive. What kind of companies can you think of here? Think about iPhone for Apple. Think even about P90X, which is an amazing fitness product, relatively high priced, and millions of customers. That is a sweet spot if you can get it. Next, let's take a look at mass market. Now here the price is low, but the amount of customers is massive. What kind of company can you think of that has a low price but tons and tons of customers? Of course, McDonald's, Starbucks. Perfect examples, right? And then finally, danger. Be careful if you're in this quadrant. We call it the labor of love because you may love it, but it's not a profitable business. I'll give you an example from my own life. I have a simple dream in this world, and that is to teach random white people how to eat habanero salsa. Nobody listens. I dream about it every day. Please wake up and crave my habanero salsa. They never want it. So while I think they should have it, nobody wants it. That's low price because I can't charge that much for it, and few customers, aka zero, because there's zero demand for it. You see why we call this the demand matrix? You want to know where the demand is, both in terms of price and customers. Don't create a labor of love. That is a huge problem when it comes to online business. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how this plays out with our own products. Let me give you an example. We have a very high-end product called Six Figure Consulting System. This is for people who already have extremely successful businesses. Very small number of customers, and the price is quite high. That is a high-end product. Next, we have a product called Find Your Dream Job. Now, this is a golden goose. It's relatively high-priced, and a lot of people want to know how to find their dream job using our system. That's a sweet spot to be in if you can get it. Next, mass market. Any idea which of the I Will Teach You to Be Rich products falls under mass market? Yeah, that's right, the book. I wrote a book called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. It was a New York Times best-selling book. It's about $10 on Amazon, and tons and tons of people have purchased it. Okay? The price is low, but the reach is big. And finally, labor of love. Beyond my dream of a habanero product, we actually did create a product on health insurance. And we thought everybody wants to know about health insurance. They complain about it. And we actually spent over $50,000 creating this product. And guess what? Nobody really wanted it. Turns out what we thought people wanted was not what they actually wanted to pay for. The demand matrix helps you plan some of this stuff out proactively so you don't make the same $50,000 mistake that I made. Now, the biggest question when it comes to the demand matrix is, how do I know where these things go? How do I know which quadrant it falls in? And my answer to you is, don't worry about this being definitively right. It's a back of the napkin exercise that helps you understand where your product falls. Okay? So there's no right or wrong answer, but you can find out generally pretty accurately where this product might live in the demand matrix. For example, if you're creating a stupid habanero salsa product, that's a labor of love. We kind of all get that. If you're creating a fitness product, that could be a golden goose. It also could be super high end, for example, if you're doing luxury coaching for athletes, or it could be mass market, like a book. That's up to you, and we can show you how to choose among those. But the big thing I want you to know is avoid the labor of love and focus on one of the other three quadrants. If you're not sure where your ideas fall on the demand matrix, don't worry about it. This is an estimation game. Right now, there are no wrong answers. You just use your best judgment. See, for me, this is the beautiful part of starting an online business. You don't have to worry about getting it right all on day one. You can use your best judgment, do a little testing, and over time, you will refine it and find the perfect idea. So don't worry if you're not sure. Do your best, and we'll go through this together. Now, I want you to do three things. Put those ideas onto the demand matrix. I want you to share this video with your friends. Let them know that there's a new way of creating an online business. And finally, in the comments below, after you share this with your friends, tell me which business idea you're most excited about. I'm going to be back with another video soon to show you how to get over some of the psychological barriers of starting a successful, profitable online business. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Ramit Sethi. We're talking about how to create a successful online business. Now, in the last video, we talked about how to find a profitable idea. And it's interesting that people want to go from an idea to jumping straight into the tactics. How do I quadruple my conversion rates? What kind of email service provider should I use? Do I do this subject line or that subject line? What kind of split tests? And what we have found in starting a multi-million-dollar successful business is you can't jump right from idea to tactic. There's an invisible part that most people skip, and that is this: mastering your own inner psychology. See, what most people don't know about our business is it actually started before the blog I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I was a college kid. I was trying to teach my friends how to manage their personal finances, and I would try to get them to come to my free classes. Well, guess what? Nobody came. And this happened for about a year and a half. So eventually I changed my approach and focused on creating a blog. Now, what was going on there? The psychology of learning how to master rejection was super interesting. And for all of us, as we create an online business, we will be rejected. The first time we try something, it's not gonna work. The second time we try it, we're gonna get a little closer, but we're still not gonna just print money. We need to know how to master our own inner psychology to build a really successful business. Now, in my experience from helping thousands of other people launch their own businesses, we've discovered 3 key barriers that usually hold people back from success. These are the questions that I faced when I was starting my own business, and these might be the same questions that you ask yourself. Why would anyone listen to me? What if I don't have the right credentials? What if I'm not an expert? What if it's already been done? I want to walk through each of these because if you master your psychology, if you can answer these questions right now, then you have a solid foundation to move into the tactics. That's the fun stuff. But for now, we want to master our psychology, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Let's talk about the first one. What if we don't have the right credentials? Do you know that people still ask me for my credentials in a super skeptical way? Let me show you this email I recently got. You are not qualified to give career advice just because someone bought your book or signed up to your website like some career advice guru, and then you told them to do A to Z and they got a job. It takes way more to be a qualified career counselor. Do you have a counseling clinic with clients, or do you have documented hours counseling folks, which is what the groups above require in order for you to have a designator after your name of certified career counselor? Even your idol, Susie Orman, is a certified financial planner. Are you? Don't think you are, pal. Think about getting the credentials as a career counselor, financial planner, psychologist, etc., or whatever titles you are calling yourself these days. You know my answer to this person? To this delusional kook? My answer is that my results speak for themselves. I know plenty of people who have a huge business card with tons of credentials after it, and they haven't helped more than 10 people. On the other hand, my results are thousands and thousands, and in fact, tens of thousands of students who have negotiated raises, found dream jobs, and right now started their own businesses. So results can be the most powerful credential of all. Now, how do you apply this to your business idea? Now, isn't it interesting that I'm not a certified financial planner, and yet I've helped hundreds of thousands of people automate their finances? Isn't it interesting that I'm not a certified career counselor, whatever that is, and I've still helped tens of thousands of people find their dream jobs? So there are always going to be people out there saying, where are your credentials? I need to know your degrees. And that might matter if you're a cardiothoracic surgeon. But if you are offering your unique advice on a life skill or experience that you have, results can be the most powerful credential of all. Now, the second barrier we identified, I'm not an expert. Now, this is a very pernicious one because even experts don't know everything. In fact, the better they get, the more they realize how much there is to learn. Remember this, you don't necessarily have to be the world's greatest expert. You need to be better than the people you're trying to help. You need to know enough to provide them value. So how do you do that? Here's a couple ways that I think about it as I created I Will Teach You to Be Rich. The first is there's some things that come super naturally to me that other people have no idea how to do. So think about some unique skills you have that seem so obvious, but other people are mystified by it. Could be sewing a button on a jacket. Personally, I have no idea how to do that. Could be cutting vegetables really quickly. For me, it was learning how to set up a Roth IRA. That's so easy to me, but to other people, they were completely bewildered by it. So I could show them something that was natural to me, and they loved it. Another thing that you can do is take people along a journey with you. Okay? So for example, it could be my journey through medical school or my journey in losing 50 pounds after having 2 kids. That is an amazing journey, and it doesn't mean that you're putting yourself on some huge pedestal. I'm the world's expert. No, you're just taking them along a journey, and that is super relatable. Oh, and how about number 3? It's already been done. There's a million other competitors, there's a million other books. No one would ever pay attention to mine. Oh, really? You mean like careers? You mean like entrepreneurship? You mean like personal finance? I've created materials in all of those areas. There's a million other books, sites, blogs, programs out there. Why would anyone pay attention to mine? Any ideas? How about I target a different audience? I speak in a different way. I have different ideas, different design, different perspectives. Guess what? You have a unique perspective. Because it's yours, by definition, it's unique. The hardest thing for me was to be able to understand that the world really did want to hear my perspective. Now, of course, I had to learn how to communicate it in the right way, but we could teach you all that. The first thing to internalize was, yes, I have a message, and people want to hear it. So remember this, competition is a good thing. If there are other books or other blogs or other sites, that means a lot of people are interested in it. Competition is not bad. Competition is a good thing because it means a lot of people want to hear what you have to share. Now, I want to show you some examples of what I mean. Again, we're talking about mastering our inner psychology because that provides a strong foundation for launching a successful online business. Now, I took a few of my students and I flew them to New York to share their stories because they were in exactly the same place you are right now. I'm not sure if I have an idea. Why would anyone listen to me? I don't have the right expertise or credentials. Well, they trusted the system. They went through what I taught them. And I want to share a few stories of how they did it. Let's take a look. Nagina of masalabadi.com. She has a family, she has 2 children, and she works at a very demanding job. She learned how to balance all these things and lose weight, and her friends started asking her about it. So she shared her journey on masalabadi.com and was able to help many other ambitious women lose weight and live a healthier life. Let's take a look at Felicia. She wasn't an expert in her field, but she learned to teach people social skills and charisma. How'd she learn that? She learned it from years of trial and error, and she discovered that lots and lots of people want to know what she's learned. And finally, Selena of s2group.com. Now, she's in a space that is super competitive. She's teaching entrepreneurship and networking, but she used the strategies we taught her to be able to break through and build a multiple 6-figure, highly profitable business. I want to remind you, don't let your fears of credentials, experience, all of those things stand in the way of you launching a successful online business. If I had sat there and been afraid when I was in college, nobody's going to listen to me, I don't have the credentials, I don't have the experience, I wouldn't be sitting here talking with you right now. So acknowledge it. Yes, I feel this, but let's still continue to move on. That's how you build a successful online business. Now, what I want you to do from taking all of these things away is internalize a couple things. Number 1, it's not just about an idea or tactics. That's what everybody thinks, but it's actually this middle part of creating a strong foundation of mastering your psychology that makes all the difference between a mediocre business and a highly profitable one. Now, the second thing I want you to do is to take all the things I talked about today and put them into practice. I'm going to give you a little challenge, a little exercise. It's something we call the what if I were perfect technique. I want you to imagine that today you were perfect. You look perfect, you feel perfect, you are perfect. You have the perfect knowledge of your subject area. Pretend for just a moment that you had no fear and that people were clamoring to hear what you can teach. What would you do if you were perfect? You had all the information, all the motivation, all the support you needed, and no fear. And the second thing I want you to do, not just think about yourself, but think about the people that you could help. What kind of result would you get for them? Literally write it out. Would it be You helped me lose 50 pounds. You helped me make the high school football team. You helped me learn how to set up my finances. Whatever it is, I want you to take it and I want you to write it in the comment below. Two things. What would change if you were perfect just for 10 minutes? And what kind of result could you get in this perfect world for your readers, fans, and followers? Leave a comment below. I can't wait to take a look. You know, when I started I Will Teach You to Be Rich, I had nobody helping me with design. I didn't know anything about technology. So I'd look at these other people's blogs and I was insanely jealous. How did they do that with their blog? How come it looks so much better than mine? I mean, look at my blog. It did not look good. Then I started to learn about email marketing. I was like, how come that guy has a bigger email list than me? I'm smarter than him. I don't know if it's a guy thing, but you know, some people tend to get a little jealous when somebody has something bigger than you do. Ultimately, I learned that jealousy is not a good thing. First of all, it's very corrosive. And second, many of the people who brag about how big their Facebook list is or whatever, their Twitter followers, they actually don't have a sustainable business. So what I learned was forget about all these fake numbers that people brag about. 25,000 followers, blah, blah, blah. Focus on what matters. Helping people and making sure that you're generating revenue that you can reinvest back into your own business. Now, we went from creating a $4.95 ebook to a $12,000 course and all the way between. Guess what? If you're gonna go from a $5 ebook to a $12,000 course, there's some shit there. Somebody had to learn how to create different types of marketing techniques, different types of productization, different types of psychology and understanding. That's the kind of person I want to learn from. Not somebody who simply created one $10 ebook and now is trying to teach everybody else how to create a $10 ebook. So what we're going to do today is focus on some of the journey of what we've learned behind the scenes at I Will Teach You to Be Rich when it came to a $5 product all the way to a $12,000 product. What did we learn about marketing? What did we learn about psychology? What did we learn about monetization? These are things you will not find anywhere else because almost no one else has done what I Will Teach You to Be Rich has done. You know, when I first started selling something online, not only was I petrified to sell, but if I got a $5 sale in one day, I was ecstatic. Oh my God, who's this person? How did this happen? Now we've built 15 plus products, many of which are multi-million-dollar products on their own. We've built systems. We've run thousands of tests. I want to share some of that with you. Take a look at this video I recorded showing the math and the psychology behind growing a multi-million-dollar business.
What does it take to start an online business and go from a $4.95 ebook to a $12,000 course? I actually want to walk you through the steps that I took, the 4 turning points to go from there to here. The reason I want to talk to you about this is there were 4 key turning points in our products that allowed us to go from $5 to $12,000. And it's interesting because so many people you see in the online business world, they start off with a very modest price product, $17, maybe a $27 ebook, and they get stuck. They don't know what to do after that. They get a few sales, maybe they even make $5,000, but where do they go from there? And so today, when I open the kimono and show you how we went from $5 to $12,000, I want to show you some of those pivotal moments, and you can use this for your online business too. We started off with the 2007 Guide to Kicking Ass. Now, as I've mentioned, I was petrified. My copy was cowardly. I was afraid people were going to call me a sellout. I had such low self-esteem that I didn't even set up a fulfillment system, meaning when people bought it, I was literally just going to watch the PayPal order come in and send them an email with the PDF attached. I mean, it's so crazy to think about, but I really didn't think anyone was going to buy it. Well, after I did that, I realized, oh, there's something here. People actually will pay to know what I know. And so a couple of years later, I rolled out a product called the Scrooge Strategy. Now, this was when nobody cared about investing. All they wanted to know was how to save money. Now, I had launched something on my blog called the 30-Day Challenge to Saving $1,000. And people were going crazy. They loved it. There were lots of comments. I realized I could turn this into a product. I created a very, very simple $7.95 a month recurring program called the Screw Strategy. Now, some very interesting things happened about this program. First of all, I talked to my friend and I said, I have all these people excited. I wish I could create a product, but I don't have the time to set up a membership site and all that stuff. She said, you don't need all that. Set it up as a simple email autoresponder and charge them a monthly recurring fee. This kind of blew my mind because I had never thought that I could charge a recurring fee and set up something so simple as an email drip campaign. So I went into my Aweber email service provider and I set up a special list and I launched this course. I had about 600 people buy the first time I announced it. And do you know why I chose $7.95? It wasn't some sophisticated pricing technique decision that I made. It was the lowest price they allowed me to charge was $7, so I charged $7.95. I mean, I wasn't used to premium pricing. I wasn't confident about myself. But one reason I also did it was that I wanted a lot of subscribers. I didn't want a few people paying me $1,000 a month. I wanted a lot because I wanted to experiment with what I could do with buyers. So people bought. And I started to learn a lot of things about what this product did for me. Number one, I got recurring revenue. And that's pretty exciting. You wake up in the morning and you have payments right in your email inbox. That was an amazing feeling. But I also realized I was having a lot of problems retaining people. And people would quit after a while, even though I promised them that they would make more than the cost of the course every month. Anybody know why? Why would people be quitting? And why would I be having trouble getting more people to join the Scrooge strategy? This is something I learned later, years later. My positioning for this product was horrible. Think about it. If people want to save money, they don't want to pay in order to do that. It doesn't matter how great your product is. Scrooge strategy is an amazing course. It has awesome, super tactical techniques, but that audience simply doesn't want to pay. And so I learned from that. I also learned about more sophisticated things like churn and cohort analysis, which finally led to the launch of Earn 1K. Now, this was a pivotal moment for I Will Teach You to Be Rich. This course was a high-level video course. I had a video crew. I brought in multiple people as guest speakers. I did a big launch. The launch was over 5 weeks long, and I priced it at $497. We did several $100,000 of sales with the first version of Earn 1K. And that's when I knew it pays to create the world's best course, because I made all the costs back in the first hour of launching it. In fact, there were so many crazy stories around that. One of the things we did was we actually had an elite level where you would get coaching. And I had modeled out that we would get 2 sales. We got 20 in the first hour. That started to teach me, wow, there's a lot of what's called price elasticity. In other words, I can charge more and people will pay it if I have marketed it right. Earn 1K was massive for us. What did we learn from that? We learned that people will pay. It's worth spending the time and money to create the best. And we also learned how to launch things over and over again. Now, I have to admit, I made a couple of mistakes. Have you ever seen these launches where you get on someone's email list and they send you a ton of emails? And sometimes they're great and sometimes not. But then they do it again and again and again. They kind of burn you out. And you're just like, this guy's just trying to sell all day long. Well, we learned from that. I realized that a launch is not a business. You have to learn how to launch first, but then you have to automate it. And so we spent a long time learning how to turn our courses into automated, what's called evergreen courses. And this takes us to Dream Job, one of the granddaddies of our product portfolio. By this point, we knew how to do customer research. We knew how to position and build an amazing product. And we knew that if we spared no expense, if we hired the best videographers, we flew people in from around the country, we did case studies and testimonials, we knew that we could sell a lot. And in fact, that's exactly what happened. We sold millions of dollars worth of dream job material and ended up helping people find their dream jobs, get $55,000 raises. I mean, the results were amazing. But what happened behind the scenes? I want to share a couple things that a lot of people don't know. We had done testing for a long time. We tested it with all kinds of people. young women, older men, college graduates, people who just graduated. And we finally cracked the code on making this course work. But in our final test, we launched something called Dream Job Elite. And you may have heard of this. This was a $12,000 course where not only did they get access to Dream Job material, but they actually flew into New York and spent 2 days with me in a private studio where I helped them negotiate, interview, and do all kinds of social skills analysis. Why did we launch a $12,000 program before we launched Dream Job? Anybody know? It wasn't for the money. Why else would we launch a $12,000 course? 2 reasons. Number one, we wanted to be sure that our program worked end to end. So we tested the entire program with this small group. And the second reason, and this is way more important, we wanted to anchor the price of Dream Job at $12,000. So a few months later, when we rolled out the $2,000 and $3,000 versions, it seemed like a no-brainer. In fact, we went above and beyond. We said, look, the people who came here for the $12,000 event, we recorded that event, and we're going to include it in the Dream Job program. That is how you can sell a $2,000 or $3,000 course while everyone else is stuck down here doing pointless tactical maneuvers. These are the things I want to teach you in Zero to Launch. But what do we notice overall? We notice that it doesn't happen overnight. None of this happened overnight. If I had skipped the $4.95 ebook, I never would have learned what I learned to be able to do the $7.95 subscription program. And I never would have learned what allowed me to do the $497 course, which allowed me to double the price. You see all these things, how it's a step-by-step system? These are the things I can teach you. But I will caution you, it does take time. And unlike others who will opportunistically prey on you, I'm actually going to tell you the truth. You can't do this overnight. Now, you don't have to spend the years that I spent because I can teach you the insights as well as the mistakes I made. You can actually shortcut yourself much of the way there, but you still have to put the time in. And I think we'll both agree that to be the best and to truly master something, you absolutely have to put the time in. I'm going to show you how to do that. But instead of flailing around and trying all different kinds of tactics like I did, I'm going to show you just the ones that worked. I'm going to talk to you about pricing. I'm going to talk to you about positioning, packaging, how to find an idea and slice and dice it until you know that the market will pay. This is what I'm going to cover for you in Zero to Launch. So stay tuned. We're going to do this together.
Okay, what did you notice about that video? Do you notice that, yes, the tactics matter. Yes, people want to know what type of email system you use. But the biggest thing for me was mastering my inner psychology. Okay? For example, when I started I Will Teach You to Be Rich, did you know it wasn't actually a blog? I started it as an informal class that I would teach to my friends. And we'd be sitting around the dining hall and they'd be complaining about money or overdraft fees or something. I said, hey, come take my class. It's free. I'll teach it to you in an hour. We'll just do it in the dining hall. And people said, yeah, sounds awesome, Ramit. And then they never showed up. This went on for a year and a half. Can you imagine how that feels? You got good at something. You finally put the time and effort into creating this 2-page agenda, and you're trying to help people for free. You're not charging a cent, and nobody comes. I mean, just imagine how that feels, where you know you can help them, and nobody's listening. Well, I did the typical things. I blamed everybody else. They're lazy. Young people really should know about Roth IRAs. And then I finally started to realize, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm not communicating it in a way that actually makes people want to do it. So I had to learn how to change my way of communication, which is something that we teach in Zero to Launch. Now, my next barrier was actually learning how to sell. I was absolutely petrified when I sold a $5 ebook. It's so laughable now. But I was scared. They're going to call me a sellout. They're going to say I jumped the shark. And actually, they did that. They did that. But I took those fears, I acknowledged them, and I went past them anyway. If I had been sitting in 2006 and had let those fears stop me, we would never be here talking right now. So it's so easy for our fears of not wanting to sell stop us from moving forward. But I think of it like this. If I believe that I have something unique to say, if I believe that I can help people, then it's my obligation to sell aggressively. Let me say that again. I give away 98% of my stuff for free, but I believe it's my obligation to sell because I know that I have something that works extraordinarily well. Same for you. If you believe that you have something inside of you that you could help other people with, then it is your obligation to spread that message to as many people as possible. So yeah, of course you hate selling. I hate selling too. Everybody hates selling. That doesn't mean we just get to sit down on a couch and say, okay, I guess I hate selling. You need to learn how to overcome that fear, just as I did. Doesn't mean you have to be some slick back sales dude. You can still be yourself. There are a lot of people who sell very quietly, very delicately. There are other people who are super loud. You can find what works for you, but your ideas need to be shared with the world. Finally, I had all these barriers in my head about technology. What type of ESP should I use? What about an autoresponder? What about segmentation? All these things that I didn't need to worry about on day one. We have a phrase internally where we tell people, don't try to be 40 before you're 40. See, when I graduated from college, I was deciding what car to buy. Now, as an Indian person, I can only buy two cars. It's a Honda Accord or Toyota Camry. But I was debating, maybe I should get a Mercedes. I'm so cool. And then I thought to myself, where do you go from there? You get a Mercedes at age 22? What are you going to get after that, a Kia? So don't try to be 40 before you're 40. Means don't worry about all these fancy technology needs before you need them. I started off my website with a free template, no email list at all, and I even had some $10 a month email provider for years. You don't need the fancy studio. You don't need all the assistance and design. You don't need all that stuff when you start. Your goal when you start is simply to make sure your idea works and then show people that you can help them. As you grow your revenue, you can take it and reinvest it back in the business. Hire designers, technology experts, and all these other people to help you. But put that fear aside that you need to have the perfect website. You don't. My website was horrendous. My email service was non-existent, and it still grew. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to prove that I could do it just once. Can I sell a $5 ebook once? Maybe the first time is a fluke. Maybe the second time is my mom. But the third time, that's legit. If I can do it 3 times, I can do it 10. And if I can do it 10, I can do it 100. Isn't there something beautiful about starting small and building a system? Because once you do it once or twice or 10 times, man, you can spin that thing up. I love that idea of systems instead of randomly praying that someone finds me on social media and somehow loves me and buys all this stuff. I don't like that. I don't like taking chances. I like engineering a win. Okay? That's what I want to teach you. See, when I started off, I had to learn all this stuff on my own. I had to try setting up email sponsorships and ad strategies and optimization strategies for all this weird stuff, much of which I ended up just discarding because it was pointless. I wish, in fact, I would have killed to have gotten a playbook, someone to say, this is what you need to do right now. Once you have $1,000 in revenue or 1,000 users, then this is what you need to do. This is the software to use right now. And when you get to this point, then you need to upgrade to that. Here's how much it should cost. Trust me, I've used it all. This is the one that's the best. You ever think what it would mean to be able to look inside, behind the veil of the very best people that you admire? Maybe it's a professional athlete. What do they eat every morning? Maybe it's a professional runner. What's his workout like? Maybe it's a professional singer. How do they warm up before a big show? I would have killed to have learned this playbook instead of having to make all those mistakes myself. Thankfully, I've put that playbook into a system that you can use, and it's called Zero to Launch. This takes the very best of what we've learned. From starting off at nothing, no idea, I don't know how anyone's gonna find me, and I don't know why they would join my stuff versus all these other people's. Learning how to go from that to a few $1,000s in sales, to repeatable sales, and eventually to millions of dollars in sales. Do you know how many mistakes I made along the way? I started doing all these weird strategies, ad optimization, conversion optimization on weird pages. I would have given anything to have gotten a playbook. Someone to walk up to me and say, here you go, like Biff in Back to the Future 2. He goes, this is what you need on day one. This is what you need to get your first 5 sales. Oh, 5? Here's how you turn it into 50. Here's the software you use right now, and here's what you use a year from now. I would have given anything. And that's exactly what we built with Zero to Launch. We're gonna show you our playbook for creating a successful online product. What's the right idea? What if you don't even have an idea? How much should you charge? What's the right format for your product? How do you find people who will actually pay? What do you send them in emails? We can show you all of this because we've done it time and time again. So in the comments below, I want you to tell me if you had your dream playbook, if I wrote the playbook for you, what would it include in it? Would it show you how to find an idea? Are you stuck on wondering about technology? What would this magical playbook do for you and your online business? Leave a comment. I can't wait to take a look.